Hi, welcome to an episode of TFT Hyperroll that is actually unlike one I have ever posted before because this one has the weirdest ending of any match I have ever done. So let me start by explaining that I started this game with a very particular plan, which was I wanted to create a team that was all tank. Just tank. It was going to be knights and brawlers and only defensive items unless I'm absolutely forced to go with offensive items because they don't give me a choice. But things like Sunfire Cape, Gargoyle Stoneplate, etc. only things that will do offense as a result of their defense. And I decided to do this based off my observations of my Sir Jax the Ironclad video, because I noticed that a lot of the damage was coming from the tank units just being tanky rather than exclusively from Jax, and I thought there might be a win condition here. So as we go through the next fight, I ask you to make a small sacrifice to the algorithm gods and place a like on the video if you like it to help it get out to more people. We named the channel Mission for Tuition because we are trying to raise money for our son's middle and high school tuition as he has to go to a special school, which is super expensive. We don't ask for donations or accept them. We only use money from ad revenue. So if you could put a like on it and get it out to more people, that would certainly help. We grabbed the Giant's Belt here because, again, this is about staying tanky at all times. We put out Poppy as the other Silver Knight that we have and go into the fight with 2 Knights and 2 Brawlers, which is giving us increased health on the Brawlers and increased blocking from the Knights, making this team very tanky. And I will be speeding things up a lot throughout this because, as you will see, having a team this tanky means things are not going down quickly and each fight is getting extended. With Sejuani just gaining magic resistance and armor every single time she ults, she becomes really difficult to take down, and even when you think the opposing team is going to get the better of you, nope, you're gonna survive with just a teeny tiny bit of strength left. Now with Radiant Item Time, I am sticking with the theme of what I want to do, and I'm only considering the tanky alternative, so Dragon's Will becomes the obvious choice. Because not only do you get a huge amount of magic resist, but you also get a percentage of your health back, and you're going to do damage to anything that attacks you. So it is time to make Sejuani as tanky as possible since she is receiving the Brawlers buff. And just as I'm starting to wonder whether this build might be unstoppable, it takes a team of Hellions to just find the right angle to be able to get to Sejuani, do enough damage, and take her down. Those items on Tristana are just perfect for finishing this off. Now I want to show you the first of 2 really weird things about this match. Watch the upper left-hand corner. Yeah, let's see that again.
What the hell is that?
I don't know what kind of omen that's supposed to be, but I'm just plowing ahead with my strategy, and I keep picking up more and more Sejuanis, and so I'm going to temporarily switch over to favoring Brawler over Knights because that will give her an additional health boost since she is carrying most of my strong items at this moment. So while Sejuani is really strong, the supporting characters around her are just not that strong. We have a Bronze Thresh, we have a Bronze Nunu, we have a Bronze Set, and while all the items on Sejuani are allowing her to last a long time in the fights, it's going to take more than that to really start winning and outlasting other teams, because once the focus becomes solely on her, she is done for. So Rito is going to help us out a little bit, and we pick up a Chain Vest and a set, and then get a Golden Globe of Happiness with a Tome of Traits inside. And it gives us a choice with the Knight or Cavalier emblem, either of which will work really well for us right now. I opt to go with the Cavalier because that will enhance Sejuani, who I am dangerously close to getting up to gold. And a gold Sejuani with everything she's got on here and an additional Cavalier buff will make her strong. I put the additional Sunfire Cape onto Gragas since he's my new Cavalier and get ready to roll. So Sejuani is blocking damage from the Knight buff that works across the entire team. She's getting damage reduction from the Cavalier buff, and she's getting increased health from the Brawler buff, as well as health regeneration from the Dragon's Will. She's doing damage with her Sunfire Cape, and the Titan's Resolve just brings the whole thing together to make it completely obnoxious and frustrating for the other team, who's got to think, yeah, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. I don't got this. And the item shop is really friendly to our tanky strategy, as we're able to pick up an additional Giant's Belt and 2-star our Thresh. But the real kicker comes when we pick up the Silver Nunu and we're able to put a Warmogs on him. Because remember, Nunu's damage increases when his health is higher than someone else's. We give Nunu the Banshee's Claw, so we're blocking the first enemy ability on our Cavaliers and our Nunu, and we set them off. And as you can see, this team is a little frustrated by the fact that they are unable to get through pretty much any of our characters and just get leveled. And out of that, we say hello to our gold Gragas, and it's time to just march on and see if we can keep marching through teams. Here's a nice Ranger comp that is probably thinking that they're going to be able to handle this, but no, it doesn't quite work out that way, because we are able to absolutely march into their backline and just stomp anything that gets in our way. The NPC round forced a Chalice of Power upon us, so we stick it on Nunu as probably the best option for that and pick up the Garen to replace Leona, who we never got past Bronze. We've now achieved the 4 Knights and 4 Brawlers that I set out to at the beginning of this match because I wanted maximum health and maximum blocking together on the same team. Now, I just want to call your attention to the right side of the board, where as a longtime skirmisher player, to watch a 2-star Jax hopelessly beat on a Gragas and seemingly get almost nowhere, it's a little heartbreaking. We get a little upgrade on our Knights, being able to change out a Poppy for a Galio. And this is that team earlier that was able to beat us with the really well-stocked Tristana, and they've now also picked up a Silver Teemo, so they have a really good chance of breaking through, except for one small problem. Gragas and Sejuani are unreasonably tanky, and by unreasonably, I mean they just do not want to die, so they are going to hold on into overtime and keep taking damage over and over again to the point where it ends in a tie. But since they had less than 6 health, they're out, and I am into the top 4. I pick up a Rel to finish the Cavalier buff, and with a Bramble Vest on this NPC, it plays right into our theme of tankiness. We get one last item gift from Rito, and unfortunately there's nothing there that fits with the tanky theme that we were going for. So I take the Chalice of Power as probably the least damaging item that I can, put the Bramble Vest onto Gragas, the Chalice onto Galio, and go hunting for a good character to use my Nico's help on. Willing to take a Teemo to see what else I can roll and if there's any chance of ending up with a gold Sejuani, but we run out of time. Now, what happens in this particular fight and how it all turns out is that second really weird thing about this game. Notice that there are still 3 players playing at this point, and that usually means somebody's going to win a fight, and then there's going to be a final square-off between the last 2 remaining. However, that person on top is going against one of our ghosts, and our fight is turning out the way most of my other fights have, with Gragas and Sejuani being absolutely too tanky to take down even as we go into overtime, and they are unable to kill them. However, the other person loses. They go to 0. They're out. Our game ends in a tie. Both of us lose 6 health. So we go below 0. So the person who was at 0 now takes first place. I'm pushed to second, and the person I was fighting is pushed to third. Now you may be saying, okay, this is a cute gimmick build, but can it be used in actual gameplay? And my answer is, well, yes. I tried this build out several times and consistently got into the top 4, often ending up in exactly this type of scenario where my team was simply too tanky to die. Here I used Leona as my main character, getting her up to gold, which is usually fairly easy to do because she's not that contested, except in this last game where for some reason we only saw 2 the entire match. But you can see again here, the game goes on into overtime. Our characters last all the way up into the end, to the point where overtime runs out and we both get knocked out. And third place may not be a victory banner, but it is positive points. Here's another match where same situation, a gold Leona. I like to use redemption on characters if I can put it together because it helps them heal one another. But here we go again, where the characters are just too tanky to fail. They might not necessarily have the damage to take everything down, but they are going to last a long time, which is going to allow you to outlast most of the other players and get yourself into the top 4 and keep climbing, which is ultimately what your goal is. Knights and Brawlers work really well for outlasting other teams. And yes, sometimes it ends in a frustrating tie, and this person I had to explain, yeah, we tied at the end. He didn't want to believe it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video and have an absolutely awesome day.